pillow and blanket ready. Today I will be reading you a story about the Malay tale of the Pig King. Once there lived a king and queen who longed for a child. The king did all he could and even married 40 other wives, but no baby was born to him. However, one day the queen discovered that she was finally going to have a child. The king was so happy that he sent all his other 40 wives away, and that was how the trouble began. The angry wives cursed the king, and when his son was born, he did not look like a baby at all. He had long sharp tusks the color of ripe bananas, a curly tail which waved in the air, and the body and face of a pig. The little pig king stood up and bowed gracefully to his parents. He smiled and everyone thought he looked handsome and fine. To everyone's surprise, the pig king began to speak. My name is Raja Indra Makala. As you can see, I have been cursed to be born as a pig, a forbidden animal. The pig king knew that he would have to prove himself worthy in order to break the curse, but this did not upset him. With a wave of his curly tail, he left the palace to find his way in the world. One day, the pig king met the boar king. "How dare you come onto my land?" roared the boar king. The two pigs fought and woke up the fairy of Pucuk Pudding Emas, who watched as the pig king defeated the entire boar army. "What an extraordinary little pig," thought the fairy to herself. "Pig king, you have proven your strength and earned my blessings, but this is not enough to break the curse. You need to prove yourself worthy." When it was time for the pig king to leave, the fairy gave him a magic knife. "Whenever you need help, you can call out to Si Parang Puting. She is your fairy helper." Once again, the pig king set off into the world, and this time he found himself in Jin kingdom of Siaharastan, Yunnan. A jinn flew him to the palace, where he was presented to the princess, Tuan Puteri Indra Kemala. When the pig king saw the princess, he fell in love and thought that perhaps the curse would break if she agreed to marry him. The pig king waved his curly tail and showed off his shiny fur. He sang and danced and charmed everyone, except the princess. Even though she secretly liked the pig king, she did not think it was right to give him her attention. "Will you marry me, beautiful princess?" "How can I possibly marry a pig? Besides, my future husband, the prince, is on his way here for our wedding." "Will you marry me if I defeat the prince?" The princess agreed. The pig king called for his magic knife, Si Parang Puting, which appeared spinning in the air in a bright flash of light. "What is your wish, pig king?" asked Si Parang Puting. "I want to defeat the prince and marry the princess." The magic knife created a golden city and a powerful army of jinn, fairies, warriors, and spirits. That night, Si Parang Puting went to see the prince. "The pig king has declared war on you. Prepare to fight." The angry prince gathered all his supporters, including the jinn kings and the gods of the fairy realm, to help him fight the pig king. The next day, both sides flew to Padang Berantah Cahaya. They rode on fiery dragons, Garuda birds, and winged lions. Some rode on flying chairs decorated with jewels and golden umbrellas. They wore 9 layers of armor and crowns studded with precious stones. They carried magic swords, arrows, an emerald, and flying chakra discs made of sharp steel. And so the Battle of Garuda Bayu began. One Jin King shot an arrow in the air and made a volcano spew out hot fire and lava onto the Pig King's army. To stop this, another Jin King shot his arrow up in the air and created a storm which put out the fire. The god of the fairy realm then flung his sword up in the sky and turned it into 1,000 fiery dragons. The dragons swooped down onto the Pig King's army, but this was stopped by another powerful god who transformed his sword into 1,000 Garuda birds. The fight went on, and many were killed and injured. Finally, the Pig King entered the battlefield. He leaped into the air with his magic knife and spun around like a typhoon, killing all his enemies. The prince and the Pig King stood face to face in the final battle. The prince threw his flying chakra disc which hit the Pig King's neck. The Pig King spun round and around like a top and surrounded the prince. Fire and light exploded out of the Pig King's body, and when it was over, the Pig King won the war. The princess was happy to marry the Pig King, and they both hoped that it would break the curse. Unfortunately, the Pig King did not transform back into a man. I have been blessed by a fairy. I have proven my love and bravery to you, but it is not enough. I have failed. Feeling downhearted, he set off into the world once more. He commanded Si Parang Puting to hide the princess and his kingdom, and in a flash of light, his golden city vanished into thin air. The Pig King walked on until he came to a country called Tebing Bunga. By then, he was so angry that all he wanted to do was go on a rampage. He ran through the city, destroying houses and scaring all the people. "Run! There is a vicious beast heading for the palace." The Pig King arrived at the king's palace and let out a thunderous roar, which frightened the 7 princesses, who all fell into a faint and could not be woken up. When the king of Tebing Bunga discovered that his daughters were ill, he pleaded with the king to help him. The Pig King regretted losing his temper, and with the help of Si Parang Puting, he made 7 cups of magic rose water. As soon as the 7 princesses were bathed with rose water, they woke from their deep sleep, and everyone in the kingdom rejoiced. The Pig King apologized for causing such trouble and once again set out into the world, but this time his heart was filled with joy. He called to his magic knife, Si Parang Puting. "Bring back my golden city and my princess." In a flash of light, the golden city appeared, and to his surprise, he saw the princess running towards him. She laughed and embraced the Pig King, which made him happy. All the flowers bloomed and filled the air with their sweet fragrance. Up in the sky, the birds sang a beautiful melody underneath a colorful rainbow. It was then that the Pig King finally transformed into a man. "I have been blessed by a fairy. I have proven my love and bravery to you, and I saved 7 souls. The curse has finally been broken." The Pig King took the princess's hands, and together they ruled the kingdom for many happy years. The end. Sweet dreams and more snores. Bye! Written by Usuf Abdul Qadir in year 1775. Retold by Heidi Shamsuddin and illustrated by Avi Shelvia in year 2020. Published by Mata Hari. Check out the book.